Welcome back and thank you once again. Let's carry on with the requests because I've got, I think, 3, 6, 8. Maybe I can go through all of them. Another 8 requests for tonight's show. But if I look at this, there you are. Let's just have a look here. Lee, and it's listed on the NASDAQ. And this person says to me, Frans, I want to buy it for the long term. Now, first of all, the moment the guy says long term, I tend to look at the weekly chart, and then let's have a look there. The weekly chart for a long term, I'm a little bit nervous to just go and buy it on for the long term. Reason being, look at this rally from $19 all the way to $42 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 weeks. That is a beautiful rally. But what do I see is the first gap was closed. There you are. That's a little bit of a negative. But if you just have a look a little bit downwards, there's another gap. I just show you there. There you are. All right. And that gap is between 28.22 and 26.57. While this gap is open, the momentum is still, oops, it looks like there is also a tiny gap. No, that one is closed. While this gap is open, the momentum is to the top. But remember, I'm seeing a triple top here. There's the top, there's another one, there's another one. And this triple top came into play when the low of that candle was broken. I just want to show you, there you are. There was the low. It broke that, and there's the level. It broke below 36.20. What I don't like, it came back. It tested that line, and it looks like it wants to lose momentum. So for me, if I want to buy for the long term, unfortunately, I will wait for this gap to close before I will enter. Because a rally from, let's call it, around $20, $25 to $40, it's a massive rally. Why do you want to buy right at the top of a move of 8 weeks to buy for the long term? Where's your stop loss first of all? And maybe the share can go back all the way, and look at it. It's all trading in this range from $40 to $17 for 2-3 years. So for me personally, I will not buy it for the long term unless I can get it right at the bottom here, close to the 17, or closing this gap, and then maybe I will look at it. Let's look at Unity Software. I see a lot of these software companies are starting to almost basing out here at the bottom. Some of the top NASDAQ shares already had some beautiful rallies. This one is listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and it's Unity Software. And I like a consolidation. I know I'm a conservative investor. So for me personally, I will look at this. There's my resistance. I will say, all right, this is a weekly chart. I'll wait for the resistance to turn into a support. Then I know the momentum wants to turn up. And there you are. If it goes above 47.14, this resistance will turn into a support. I will like to buy it. My stop loss will be 29.09. It's maybe a little bit of a big stop loss, but this is a weekly chart, so you need to have a little bit of a longer term view. And where's my targets? My targets will be 57.53. Wow, yes, it can go a lot. 70.70, and even as high as 79.89. This just tells you if this consolidation can break, we can see a rapid move. Because look what happened. When the share started to sell from $200, it fell right through, and it got to about $30 in a matter of, let's call it, a year. That's a massive sell-off. So there's a stop loss. I like this consolidation. Let's see if it can break up in time. Then maybe we can see a nice relief bounce from there. I often get requests for PayPal. And PayPal, again, it's a massive company in America. It's listed on the NASDAQ. Same thing, building a nice base here. I like it. Let's see. It definitely broke this trend line. Let's have a look. There's the trend line. Yes, it broke it, but it's consolidating. So for me, this consolidation will be more important than anything else. There you are. Oh, whoa, it's on the brink of giving us a nice little bounce to the upside. If it breaks above, there's your level. If it breaks above 89.32, this resistance line can turn into a support. I will make use of a stop loss of 68.76. Wow, it can maybe go all the way. Look at that first sign of strong resistance, 121. So this share can maybe surprise us quite a lot at the top. What's important here is if you see a share that's consolidating at lower levels, I've said it many a time, what does that tell us? It tells us that the informed capital, strong buyers and the strong sellers, are sussing each other out, and they're saying to themselves, is the share offering value in this area or is it not? And while it is consolidating, these guys want to know who's going to be right. And while the share is consolidating, you just need to wait for the resistance to turn into support, and then you know that these buyers and sellers were happy to say that we've bought the lows now. The lows are in, and above that level, it can go higher. And that's the important thing. I always say the charts is only a picture. The picture tells you a story, but the picture also tells you the emotional side of the informed capital. And if you are a layman and you know your charts, you can just say to yourself, above that line, the bulls or the buyers are in a stronger position, so maybe I can go with them. And if you're wrong, then you use this low as your stop loss and say, okay, I am completely wrong. I need to change my strategy, or I need to find a place where it actually goes lower. If you are a long-term investor, I know most of the long-term investors or even traders that's got a bit of a longer-term perspective, they build positions. But what they say to themselves, if I'm wrong, I know that I'm wrong. I either take my stop loss, and if they don't take the stop loss, they need to, almost you can say, fight that position. I mean, PayPal, good company. I think they made some good money. I don't know if their results are out. The chart looks to me like it's bottoming out, and that's usually a positive sign for me. It needs to get above that resistance line. Let us look at Hammerson, the property company. Well, I mean, this company was hammered. I mean, can you believe it, on the local market from about, let's call it R8.30. It was hammered all the way down to R3.70 in a matter of, you can almost say 2.5 months. And what you usually see is, I call this a waterfall formation because it looks like a waterfall. I usually know that if a waterfall formation triggers a lot of selling, eventually you get to the time where the buyers are just coming back in, and then you get this almost a beautiful V reversal. For me, it's almost a U shape, but I mean, it can easily be called also a V reversal, but for me, it's more of a U shape here. What is the important thing here? Same thing, look at that. There's that same sort of candle that hammered. But for me, what happened was quite interesting. It was sold off, it gave a spinning candle. I just want to view it out. There you are. That is a beautiful spinning candle. That tells you that the buyers and the sellers, they were not sure. But the sellers on that day decided, listen, are we doing the right thing? What happened? The next day, the bulls came in, or the buyers came in, bought the share just a little bit from the previous day's low, and it closed well above that close of that day, and even that's the opening. So what does it tell you? The bulls or the buyers of that day were in complete control. What is the rule of a bullish engulfing candle? Because that's a bullish engulfing candle. It must almost, you can say, take over 60 or 80%. It must take over 60% of that red candle. Then you know it's a bullish engulfing candle. What happened here? It took over more than 100% of the previous day. That is a strong move. That is a strong candle. And I think a lot of buyers came in there. Maybe didn't buy it right at that day, but they waited for this candle. They saw it opened quite low. The low of the day was what, 375, and they put it right up. It goes at close to 4 Rand, and what was the high of the day? The high of the day was 4 Rand 19, and that is still a positive candle, and that's where you see this beautiful reversal. So for the guys that wants to buy Hammerson, you either wait for it to pull back a little bit. Remember, this is a weekly chart. We had a beautiful rally from 390 to 5 Rand. So you either buy it on a pullback, or you say to yourself, I'm going to be a little bit of a momentum buyer because the share is coming from a very, very high base. And if you do buy it now, then where's your stop loss? That is the old story, and I've mentioned it on the program for so many times. A stop loss strategy is a personal issue. It's either the low of that candle, or the low of that candle, or the low of that candle, or a percentage. And you say, listen, if I work on a 3% and I see my percentage is wrong, I take my loss and I walk away. But I mean, if you've got a long-term view, maybe you need to have a little bit of a bigger stop loss on Hammerson. Let's look at Japan tobacco. Well, you can buy it on the American market. And I know some guys only trade tobacco stocks. They trade it usually for the dividends. They wait for these shares to get bombed out. Because when they bombed out, they know the dividend yield is quite high. And they usually know that these companies make a lot of money. Why? Because smokers, they never quit, or they sometimes quit. But what happens here? I mean, it was sold off all the way from $10 right down to, you can almost say $8. It's a 20% drop. And now it's starting to work its way up. The only thing that worries me is maybe we're seeing a sort of a head and shoulder formation here. For a tobacco company, usually with a nice dividend yield, I will use this resistance line and I will say, yes, I know that there's some guys that's buying this for the dividend. And they will say, there's a bottom, there's a double bottom. So this is a positive formation. Yes, we know it only comes into play above that candle, $9.30. The first sign of strength will be when this resistance line turns into a support. And that resistance line is turning into a support above $9. Above $9, it can go to that $9.30 to pick it in. But where's my stop loss? My stop loss will be either be $8.35 or even the low there of $8.27. So yes, I think this share can maybe surprise you. And remember, there's always smokers, and remember, they usually pay a good dividend. Well, thank you for watching the show once again. Thank you for also visiting our website, www.fransdeklerk.com. And thank you for all the requests that we receive every week. I know we cannot do all of them. Thank you anyway. Well, all the best, and we'll chat again.